Tashi delay everyone.
Tashi delay Kishila. Tashi delay Kishila.
Tashi delay Ken.
Hello.
Hello. Tashi delay everyone. Kishila.
당신들이 가서 닝게 응원보다 어디 통해래. 아니 디마니 님 와이나 디 오디오디 코니치. We do position together. O Namo Manjo Shri Namo So O Namo Shri So O Namo Manjo Shri Namo So Shri Namo O Namo Shri So O Namo Manjo Shri Namo So Shri Namo O Namo Shri So Jena Zogi Chona La Jangju Badu Dandi Gyazu Ji Dagi Chinyen Kibe Tonangi Jola Benje Zange Ruba Ju Jena Zogi Chona La Jangju Badu Dandi Gyazu Ji Dagi Chinyen Kibe Tonangi Jola Benje Zange Ruba Ju Jena Zogi Chona La Jangju Badu Dandi Gyazu Ji Dagi Chinyen Kibe Tonangi Jola Benje Sange Ruba Ju Dashi Begi Jujin Bedora Jirali Shini De Kembadi Sange Shindo Mide Waye Togen Nanda Shila Jeba Ju Yedan Guru Rana Mandala Kandiya Daya Please adjust your sitting posture to the meditative postures of Vairocana. Then think, all sentient beings have been my mothers, and all sentient beings have been my mothers for numberless times. They are as kind as my mothers of this life. Even though all kind mothers sentient beings want happiness, and do not want even a small suffering. However, due to engaging wrongly in the objects of adoption and abandonment, they only experience suffering. In my mind, sincerely generate loving kindness towards all kind-minded sentient beings, thinking, how nice it would be if all kind-minded sentient beings had excellent happiness. May all kind-minded sentient beings have excellent happiness. I will cause all kind-minded sentient beings experience excellent happiness. Lama, please bless me to be able to do so. Next, we generate compassion towards all suffering mother sentient beings, thinking, how nice it would be if the body of all suffering mother sentient beings were free from the class discordant with accomplishing virtue, such as physical suffering, pain, sickness, and problems caused by four elements. May the body of all suffering mother sentient beings be free from the class discordant with accomplishing virtue. I will free the body of all suffering mother sentient beings from the class discordant with accomplishing virtue. Lama, please bless me to be able to do so. How nice it would be if the minds of all suffering mother sentient beings were free from the class discordant with accomplishing virtue. Mental suffering, such as mental suffering, here, coarse and subtle conceptual thought. May the minds of all suffering mother sentient beings be free from the class discordant with accomplishing virtue. I will free the minds of all suffering mother sentient beings from the class discordant with accomplishing virtue. Lama, please bless me to be able to do so. How nice it would be if the speech of all suffering mother sentient beings were free from the class discordant with accomplishing virtue. Coarse and subtle negative speech, such as telling lies. May the speech of all suffering mother sentient beings be free from the class discordant with accomplishing virtue. I will free the speech of all suffering mother sentient beings from the class discordant with accomplishing virtue. Lama, please bless me to be able to do so. How nice it would be if the three doors of all suffering mother sentient beings were free from all classes discordant with accomplishing virtue. May the three doors of all suffering mother sentient beings be free from all classes discordant with accomplishing virtue. I will free the three doors of all suffering mother sentient beings from all classes discordant with accomplishing virtue. Lama, please bless me to be able to do so. How nice it would be if all sentient beings were free from all suffering and its causes. May all sentient beings be free from all suffering and its causes. I will free all sentient beings from all suffering and its causes. Lama, please bless me to be able to do so. Next, we generate bodhicitta. First, we ask ourselves, who should take on the responsibility to free all mother sentient beings from the sufferings of samsara and of lower realms? I should take on the responsibility to free all mother sentient beings from the sufferings of samsara and of lower realms. But I do not have the ability to do so now. Who have such abilities? Only those who have achieved the perfect, complete enlightenment have the ability to do so. Therefore, for the sake of all mother sentient beings, by all means, I will achieve the state of enlightenment. Next, we generate all-encompassing yoga mind. The aspiring conventional bodhicitta that thinks, for the sake of all mother sentient beings, I will achieve the state of enlightenment. Be transformed into a white moonbeam at one part. And the ultimate bodhicitta, that is one's mind becoming in one place with emptiness, the lack of inherent existence. That transformed into a white five-pronged vajra on top of the moonbeam at one part. Next, we meditate on emptiness for a short while. That I exist neither intrinsically one with, nor intrinsically different from the aggregate. Thus, I do not exist intrinsically.
내상에서 제법의 현생제 동기 기준 중화가 동에다 들어가 리치도 사파 동세야 보시 이쪽도 있나 이제 빠지는 것이 그래서
As I always say, it's very important to conjoin the four virtues of our three doors with the practice of six perfections. The third practice of six perfections is morality, generosity, and generosity is mainly a mind of giving, intentions of giving. So my 2 hours of listening to Dharma, contemplating and meditating on Dharma are for the sake of purifying the sufferings of all sentient beings and for bringing happiness to sentient beings.
더 대지도 특별히 빠진 안에 생각을 특별히 또 좀봐 특별히 오는 거는 다 간다 영화에 있듯이 이 게임도 맞지와 책임도 공bình 안에 내상 고스 제가 있나 예 특별히 빠진 안에 생각을
And the second one is morality. Morality is mainly a mind of abandonment. So I will I will abandon my physical, I will listen to Dharma, contemplate and meditate on Dharma through properly abandoning my physical and verbal negativity.
더 대지서 대비 빠진 안에 생각을 다 민주도 생각 대비 모든 만나신 다 내상 고스 제비 가서 더 유세나 용에다 땅에 같이 좀 많이나 그 방법에는 세트까지 지금 인사 리지 상황이 되어가이나 예 내상 고스 번째가지 그 세비 빠진 안에 생각을 했어.
Next is patience. The nature of patience is an undisturbed mind. So during these 2 hours of listening, contemplating, and meditating on Dharma, whatever physical or mental hardships or sufferings occur, I will be patiently embracing all of them.
다음은 전리지 빠진 안에 생각을 전리서의 요라 또 있습니다. 전리지 무엇인가는 것이 내상 고스 제발라 가와다 또 인터넷 전리 정말이나 그러니까 전리 빠진 안에 생각을 했어.
Next is joyous effort. Joyous effort is the mind that takes delight in virtue. So I will take delight in listening to Dharma, contemplation and meditation on Dharma.
산티스와는 같이 산티스 바이너를 심벌 산티데 아까 세계의 바 강리들 뜻이거든요. 바 산티지 무엇은 말하시 다 내상 고서 강 제발 되게 초달라 바스템바 뜻이거든요. 다 안나도 나요도 무슨 이 샤월바 내상 고서 집이 최라 바스템바 뜻이도 통관이 되바이나 어디 산티 바이너를 심벌
Next is meditative stabilization. Meditative stabilization is a finger-pointed mind that focuses on any virtuous object. So I will single-pointedly focus my mind on the Dharma that I listen to, contemplate and meditate, and do not get influenced by conceptual thoughts and distractions.
다 결혼이 빠진 안에 생각을 하고 결혼 도와서 결혼 넘기기거든요. 결혼 도와서 말하시 내상 고서 강 시바 제바티 And
the last is wisdom. So wisdom is an awareness that thoroughly distinguishes phenomena. So during these 2 hours of listening, contemplating and meditating on Dharma, I will properly understand the words and the meaning of the teachings.
이제 통지진의 상지지 공부하다가 대체로 다 전도한테도 주시는 년에 수준도 되는 신경을 해봐두고 이 스타트스 통해서 주셨어.
That's a good motivation. For the sake of all other sentient beings, I will achieve the state of enlightenment. For this purpose, I will receive the commentary on the holy teaching, Lamrim, and practice accordingly in order to benefit sentient beings.
뭐야, 텐데요. 뭐야. 기타 가서 같이唱的 写的就够了这当然是别的话看到还是当不我不的要不然呢当然是写的就发现原来的没办呢这发现当不我的原来的话说没没把的计划的是我的话没没把的到但写的这个当然的发现当不我不的个两对进的没弄啊看到两对清晰的东西我的理解的也是写的那写的东西我结果的也是他那写的结果的也是给他的哇
So to continue where we stopped last week, therefore it is necessary to generate wisdom. So regarding this, we have already covered the first five perfection, and if one generate the first five perfections without the last perfections, which is wisdom, then the first five perfections are like blind people, are like blind that they do not know where to go. So these number six perfections, which is wisdom. So it is like an eye, it is like a guide to the blind people. They will guide you to the path. So it is necessary to generate wisdom that is like an eye to the blind.
他第一件我是发现地方，他的把你包的发现地方就是那个多，他讲的推农民咯，农民村那些是吧，这个讲的嘛晓得，他讲的特sản公司就晓得，讲的要么的，然后特别的上面对的了，他讲的我们原来，我特sản公司要么的话，公司的西部多讲的沟通了，讲的发现地方比如啊，特sản公司要么的，特sản公司嘛军队型吧。 梦啊是特别些，特别得了的推动一些了，推动一些了得了的当把得了的当就一些了接，当就一些了得了的公吧，这公吧了的公一些了，我都是军队就是么的嘛，都是嘛，他们我说当不推啊个推推的话，我推吧的，我推上我自己写了的嘛，军队人家不上的嘛，当不推吧的没把呢，这上吧的因为要嘛的，这上吧的没呢。 公写了的，因为要马来西亚，这台上公司原来明白的，就没人这边因为没要马哇，我这里讲过说，军队的马明白。
So its cause hearing completely pure scriptures in accordance with one's mental capacity is set out in the compendium of the perfections. One who studies little is blind and doesn't know how to meditate. So basically, this talks about This talks about listening to Dharma, contemplation, and meditation. So in order to generate the wisdom of listening, contemplation, and meditations, so we have to engage in these three together. We have to engage in these three listening, contemplation, and meditations together. It means that we shouldn't leave anyone out of the process. So because these three, listening, contemplation, and meditation, they are generated in gradual order. So first we listen to the Dharma, then in dependence on the listening to the Dharma, then wisdom, a reason from listening arise. Then in dependence on the wisdom, a reason from listening, then one contemplates or reflects. Then in dependence on the contemplation, wisdom, a reason from contemplation arises. Then in dependence on the wisdom, a reason from contemplation, one meditates. And then in dependence on the meditations, wisdom, a reason for meditation arises. So what one meditates is what one contemplates. What one contemplates about is what one has listened to. So it shows the gradual order of the cause and effect, how one leads to another, and how the later one arises in dependence on the previous one.
Oh, that cutting my lady, that paper you want a meal one and our essay, the ship without people of Makatu Sinti. Paper you want a meal one and our essay, the meal one and I think as a table minute, once the shake Marisigora, 상상도 비시고 말 bomba 비시고 말이스 비시고 말이스 그 도망가서 퇴바를 개체모리에서 다 가도 마시고 이나 두서래도와 이 간다 퇴바라티네 삼바치그레 삼발라티네 때 bomba치 와 그 대상고서 야마다와 대상고서 야마다와 지나 대시로 공에 공변도와다 또비 연대 공에 공변도와 마토바 또바다 마토바 토바 어떤 등기 치가 전부 요래서 나오게 지라 연대 마토바 토바다 대응에서도 마토바 대응에서도 또 두바치 와다 대상고서 두 지네 야마다와 대림바기도 두서 년이 제바이나 년이 비다고 요리에서 다 된다 되는도와.
So, as it says here, one who studies little is blind and doesn't know how to meditate. So, one studies little is blind, or one who does little listening to Dharma, then it's like a blind. Then it doesn't know how to meditate. So, if one doesn't study much, then one do not know one do not know the proper way to contemplate. Then let alone the proper way to meditate. So it is very important to listen to the teachings, especially in the beginning of the training. So, and by practicing or by engaging in listening, contemplation, and meditation indivisibly or inseparably, then there are benefits such as one will achieve the unachieved qualities. So one will achieve the qualities that one has never achieved before, and then one will the meaning that one has not realized directly, one will develop the direct realization.
So, Larry, the Tepa Tumumisi Dreamese, the Tepa the Tumumibasi dreaming on series, Tepa Tumumisi dreaming. Kumbola some machine notion to them. That Kumbola some Kumada Japala of a Chima to Chetu Maris, to Kanji, a Potu Maris, Kumbola some machine notion to Roa, Tepa Tumumisi Kumbola some notion. Combaci jam munjun zawo yise rani pina pe nyamtawa kandi chomba ina te dinaya pe topo khati ko maris te tapare yores susu pe dadi pe kange cheba ina ko yores combaci jam munjun zawo yi susu comba pe kanda no no chila sabab pe susu kange cheba ina te cheba de susu kanda sukanji meba chaya ma yores ora combaci jam munjun zawo yise roa ta tatsu meno temba dochi jose pe 탑 땡게 때 다 상지지 공부를 탑 땡게 조인원에 조고 야슈 초도 제가 데려서 다 간다 대박 어다 대박 가서 나는 이거 원리래 이거 원리 가서 최퇴비 이제 시대까지 와 어다도 시기지 추지로
So again, as the quotations that we learn, the quotation, sorry, the importance of listening to Dharma that we learned before at the beginning of Lamrim text is listening is like a light that illuminates. Listening is like a light that illuminates the ignorance, the darkness of ignorance. It cannot be robbed away or taken away by thieves or robbers. Then it is the best friend. It is the best friend that you will not deprive. That you will not be in. You will not fall in the states of poverty, because listening is your best friend. So you will not be lack of friends, because the listening is your best friend. And listening is the one who shows you the method through the state of enlightenment. So this quotation that talks about the importance of listening that we learned before in the beginning of the text, then again how they correspond to that quotation.
다들 원리 레고상 가서 지지 잠만 거고 지수는 거 단 호수 넘버 또 봐서 되면 지레군도 단 호수 장이 주변 넘도 강이 받대 희식 주바 예시 희디레스 거 희디레스 다 세나로서 봐 넘도 다 차다 못 이제 식으로 세나로서 봐 넘도 강이 봐 되네 간다 뉴무 주바 예시 좋아 다 넘도 간다 하여튼 요리 레스트스 러딩에 대고만 단지 육개시 식으로 오만 안지 버리 게 식으로 좋아 맞아서 단지 강가데 내 요즘 동료와 근데 네 가도 가도 돼 랑지비로 비시고 돼
윤지빈의 디 강사기 당진
다 당지다
강사기
다
당진
강사기 당지 대자 공동하자 사만 유진되고 그래
덴진이나 디 셰지 디 강사기 당진다고 해나
강사기
나기하다
당진되고 강사기 당지다 대자 공동하자 또 사만 유지를 되고 예 카드도 치데 찍고 카드만 되고 하나 시시나 우마 랑지비게 시 우마 랑지비 쇼시야
And then Maitreya, Venerable Maitreya also says in his Sublime Continuum, conceptualizations of the three spheres is prohibited as the obstruction to omniscience. Conceptualizations like mindfulness are prohibited as afflictive obstructions. So conceptualizations like mindfulness, pride, these quotations is the assertions of autonomous school, or in other ways, Vatantika Madhyamika school. It's the assertions of Vatantika Madhyamika school. It is not the assertions of Pratyeka Madhyamika school, because Vatantika Madhyamika school, they assert whatever is true grasping as obstructions to omniscience, and whatever is as it those like self-graspings of person, pride, anger, then those are considered as afflictive obstruction according to Spartanica Madhyamika.
我的的龙哥，他的你们这帮的，他写了的信的当然是，他看他人家的写我的。这东西就特别，他那没把的，他要求的，咱可说上一就毛这个东西都被写了，他写了得了先吧，他对你写的年的呢，我是特先也要买的时候，特先确实就嘛要买的时候。 写的年的你得帮姐姐，他那没把事呢，看到他有多没多的，他不是让你嘛这个东北人都被写了的，哦，他当然他让你把这看到写的，他看到这个单位都被写了是人几个了是吧？单位都被写了是呢家人几个的，他看到东西都被写了是呢几个了吧？东西都被写了的，得先吧，他要嘛的是，看到让你别个写的，单位都被写了的，先把你的帮姐他要嘛看到。 他们都被写了的，现在你的东西他要买，那东西都被写了的，先把写的东西他要买，东西都被写了的先吧。我东西都被，
年底的单位都被写了，
年底的单位都被写了了，今年他年底的工作有的，基本上他有多么的这里，他写的时候东西都被写了了，今年也看他写的工作也是。
让就被录了，
我让就录了给写了，他这里身上让就录了，俺这里七八写了是吧？他看他单位都被写了的，东西都被写了七八写了是吧？ 그 다음에 그 돈이 있으면 이렇게 시고요 말아. 어디 이선상 다 단다데 된디게 돈이 또 비셔라 되래. 시대 타야 말때 된디게 시셔라 때. 다 퇴발하기는 제발해서 퇴발하기는 내 대상부서 야마다기 전에 내 돈이 또 비셔라 제발해. 된디 선상 다 퇴발에 돈이 또 비셔라 제약이 타부터 줘 초도 줘봐야 얘도 아시고. 와 퇴발이. 어디들이
가사기 다음에 또 비셔라 이나 된 연지.
연지 공지 찾았어.
There is no cause apart from wisdom that eliminates these, and therefore wisdom is supreme. Since study is its basis, study is supreme. So this says that the best method or the best cause to eliminate these two then cognitive or obstructions to omniscience, cognitive obscurations or obscurations to omniscience. So the best method or the best cause to eliminate these two afflictions, these two obstructions or obscurations are the wisdom realizing emptiness. So the best method, the best cause, the sublime method, the sublime cause, and the indispensable method or the indispensable cause that eliminate these two obstructions are wisdom realizing emptiness. So if according to the system of Svatantika Madhyamika, then wisdom, realizing the selflessness of person, is the indispensable cause or method to eliminate afflictive obscurations. And wisdom, realizing emptiness, the non-observations of three spheres, is the indispensable cause to eliminate generate independence on listening. Therefore, study or listening is supreme.
오, 이제 지금
동이 또 베시라 단 코수 미미베 마미베 동이 또 베시라로
다 동의도 비셔. 당연히 뭐 자주 사실은 소소는 그들은 다른데 가두기 치대면서 얘네 시지 집안에서 시지란 데고 그래서 남도라서 이 가두름다 무슨 남바도 봐 가야 봐 시지 집안에서 뜻이 진짜로 가두 들리라 라지빈데 봐 쉬고 봐 라지빈데 봐 쉬고 때나라 또도 가야 봐 일이 됐어 그거 당아도 단주와 시지된 일이 쉬고 단주와 가서 다 강사가 단지 샤를 봐셔다 겐지 샤를 봐셔들 시지 샤고 봐
가사기 당대
가사가 단지 샤를 봐셔다 가사가 단지 봐셔다 취지 단지기 봐셔 겐지 봐셔 해봐도 아니요 말했어 해봐 어디 단단한지 봐 해봐 샤스와 겐지도 배 시디를 샤스와 어디 다 단주하게 간다 단지 샤를 봐셔다 취지 단지다 가사가 단지기 샤를 봐셔도 시디 샤고 그래서
윤지위노
예디는 다 취지 단지다 가사 단지 니가 내주죠 단주하고 놀라 되니까 내주죠 어디 쳐
ini kata di rangkyu ba lula ina di kata shidip se de ni di sheba le shaba ro
오 시발 샤고 샹장지를 시디를 해봐도 봐셔 니가 요래 요다 시디를 해봐 봐셔 니가 요래 시디라 인지 봐셔야 되니까 니가 시디를 해봐 요새 단지 봐 단지하고 시디를 해봐 좀 요 말했어
Ken, can you please repeat the two afflictive obscurations and obscurations to omniscience, because there's a bit of lagging on the internet, so we can't follow you.
Sure,
Thank you.
Yeah, kata di kanta ki tame to be shirap de ini di nyundip ye acute tame tabro la ini di kosum miwi be tongi to be shirap de ini di shirip ki tabro la de
시디 봉지
봉지 tabde. Yeah, so wisdom, realizing selflessness of person, is the method or is the cause to eliminate afflictive obscurations. Wisdom, realizing emptiness, the non-observations of three spheres, is the method or cause to eliminate cognitive obscuration or obscurations to omniscience. Yeah, so this is according to the systems of Vadantika Madhyamika.
Thank you.
Yeah, so then Geshe-la say, according to Prasangika Madhyamika, the imprints left by the self-grasping of person and the imprints left by the self-grasping of phenomena are inserted as cognitive obscurations by Prasangika Madhyamika. So the Prasangika Madhyamika, they asserts that the imprints left by the self-grasping of person and the self-grasping of phenomena as cognitive obscurations. So for Prasangika Madhyamika, these cognitive obscurations is not a consciousness. It's not a consciousness. So however, for Vadantika Madhyamika, since the words in the sublime continuum, it says that conceptualizations of the three spheres is considered as the obstructions to omniscience. So, so this shows that it is the assertion of Vadantika Madhyamika, because for Vadantika Madhyamika, there is a consciousness, cognitive obscurations, there is consciousness. So there is consciousness asserted as a cognitive obscuration. So however, for Vadantika Madhyamika, so there is no consciousness asserted to be the cognitive obscuration. So in other words, cognitive obscuration is not a consciousness for Prasangika Madhyamika. For Vadantika Madhyamika, cognitive obscurations, they are consciousness type. They are type of they are consciousness type.
Yeah, that is what I'm making my handle of the Jewish over.
Oh, yeah.
The dog Chebadin and handle of the Jewish over.
So regarding these views or the differences between views, then these I will explain in the context of special.
That you will want to let you saw what you are, let you don't tell her, and the shower of Jew Seba. That's about going to get issue. That in this about going to saw the carrot person. That Tebatan, Tebal, the Resora, TB. Seba going to get beat up. The Binyani, the Chivala, saw to the Tebala, the Resora. That Teba, Yabuji Genetic, Teba was in TB Tendela. This someone that they name what is the this should be moving Yani, speaking Yani. Or this is a deep Jibachini and somebody. They are somebody, a Anjamin in the Bungia. That would you share what did you raise? That let you to let them ship. And that has some consumer picture of ship. What?
And the compendium of trainings in verse says you should be patient, you should pursue study. So you should be patient, and these patience also depend on study or listening to Dharma. So then you should retreat to a forest. So after you study or listening to the Dharma, then you retreat to a forest, then strive at equipoise meditations. So the information or the things that you have heard, then you retreat to a forest. Then you then you think about those meanings. You contemplate, reflect on those meanings, and then you meditate, cultivate patience, and until you develop wisdom arising from meditation.
That you will want to issue. That kind of Tambanaji is any. Then what tribute in La Kanda, tribute in the Lodi machine, tribute in the Layana, the system by Yanda, the Bomba Chigris, that and that direct on the Tessa was the Yamada Wolma. Do you have the Shun Samad, Shun all of my town mother, and that Digan she would go or Yanda, the La Santa Yana, the Bomba Chigris. That kind of Chamber Jim Majiba, the tribute turned it. See that the Kanditaba turned the Sina Majiba, Chambagi, Tembo Sune, the Temba Tembo and Titter, want to Banali, Chevaina, the Kanda, Roa, Dilla, want to Banaki, the Bonchi, Rala Timba Rasa, Bonchi, Dilla Timba and Visa, Chesa Bombatilla, that Chudia Kumbin, Medina Kumbin over the Ese, Tishibuda, Mantu tribute turned it, Chamber Jibaina, then also boom. Just like meeting over the Chisan over the land was the Chimpy and Puben Ray on Mareso. What? Then also Mateba Sias and Puna. Tribute to the Exceeding Majiba Lola, then is Jimba Subres. The Tempa Jabana, the tension would do to Mareso. Tension would do to Mara, the tension would do Matua, Mazata Sanji Pupatualia, Rimba in the Saman the Tobats, Rimba to Gilegia, the Duala Palacabo, what did it in that direction?
Combe meet the lager.
Meet turn the Master, sitting the tube turned the temperature by not the one car, meet the Koran Umara. The one is a meeting Umara.
Yeah. So the holy beings of the past also said to first gather together in your mind the Dharma that you have studied, then reflect on it repeatedly, appraise it or comprehend it, and then investigate it. So so training merely to focus the mind is of no help if you allow yourself to forget the Dharma. So so basically what it means is to contemplate again and again the meanings that you have heard, and do not let those things be forgotten. So in other ways of saying this is you should remember what you have heard in your mind. You should firmly hold those you should remember clearly or firmly the things that you have heard. So then through these, then one Dharma knowledge or Dharma practice will increase more and more. So if you let yourself forget the things that you have heard, then what would you meditate on? So in other way of saying this is the reference object of your meditation will be gone or will be disappeared because you don't even remember the things that you have heard too. That's supposed to be the object of meditation. So if you let yourself forget the things that you have heard, then your object of meditations will be gone or will be disappeared. So, and if you let yourself forget the things that you have heard, then there are other disadvantages, like for example, then you will not be able to achieve a great meaning, a great aims. Then you will not be able to develop realization in the Tsongkhapa, and then one will not be able to achieve or develop the realizations of Tantra. So we should meditate on the things that we have contemplated or reflected. So there is the thing to be meditated, the things that you have reflected or contemplated before. So once those things are ascertained by valid cognition, by valid cognitions in your mind, then you will not be listen to the bad companions, as it says here. Once this certainty has grown through such contemplations, you will no longer listen to the words of bad companions who say all virtuous thoughts and non-virtuous thoughts are to be abandoned because they are conceptuality. Rather, you will think the Dharma does not teach anything like that, and my teacher also do not assert that, so you will not listen to them. So once you develop the strong ascertainment by valid cognitions regarding the things that you have heard, contemplated, then even if a bad companion come and say that, or are they all conceptual thoughts, or all thoughts, or all thoughts, yeah, regardless if it's a virtuous one or a non-virtuous one, then they are conceptuality. But they are conceptual thoughts or conceptuality. Thus, they are object of abandonment or object to be abandoned. So even if a bad companion come and say these to you, you will not listen to them. You will not be led astray by them because you have developed a strong, a firm ascertainment regarding the things that you have heard to. So you will think that, or this, my teacher do not say about, my teachers do not say this way, and Dharma also do not teach this way. So you will not be led astray by their companions.
that is 재미있는 신입이 결합돼 내가 이 나라에서 그러와. 다수도 나 페베견나 삼바삼베견나 보베견 예비견이 결합 재미있는 신입이 되니 쉐로도 매나 방안서 배 출라 대반 전부 쉬어서 와. 대반 전부 쉬어서 다 대반 전부 쉬어서 다 간다 수수기 재미있는 신입이 쉐로네. 대반의 전부요. 다 몬데와고 그래서 디마도 안 가요. 와. 몬디와베 로자 다간다 추나가 지시다 디 칼란도고 다간다 다 소소라 페나 시밍이 신이 비셔러데네 대반이 슈쳔부지요 줘라 다디요나 다디로고도 디니셔라메 바틀라 다 무이 칼라티나 모토서 다티페치 니부도와 무이 칼라티나 모토 게비 칼라티나 게토서 치나기도 찌셀라 디나네 가치상로세 로와 치나즈 가치상로세 내가서 에디하 보라다 치나기도 치소와 어디 Gatisa, Tarama Lugri Hesse. Then also dinner, singular Peshavina, Sinjiki, Long Wonder, Nala Yugune, Nala Yugune, Chakujine, then Tina Kona Tangra, our Tin Luro Hasiata. What that day, a dinner she in Lugri Hesse. That China hit the Gatis and Yamato, San Jambo Chilame, which was also Levona, Zoo to the remote together, Zumukawa, and a chip at the Legal. Oh, that is a big Mamul Jar, China Hido, Katindo Swade. Oh, the patient some Mambo. Oh, the Tatani nobody has a word. Then when they are way Calatin and want to give it a Calatin gate was that the one huge bush, which you that did it. Not the Teba shoe chamber, you're the share of the men at Jun bush, which you want. What? Teba shoe chamber, you but the share of the never go. The share of the Marina Pepe. Kalim, the secret shoe chamber genet, Tame, Kalet, and that never generate Ningai water. So, you remember the Ningai water.
And lacking that, someone who has a little bit of faith but no wisdom will burst into tears when he sees a crying face, and will burst into laughter when he sees someone who is laughing. So, Kishala says this is how they very nice. This metaphor is very very nice to express the meaning of this. So we'll burst into tears when you see a crying face, and we'll burst into laughter when you see someone who is laughing. Considering true whatever people say, like a river, he will go wherever he is led. So this shows the great fault if one has strong faith, but the wisdom that is found by the but lack of wisdom, which is the attainment found by valid cognitions. If this is absent, then there is great fault, because your faith, though is strong, will become a blind faith. So this is the great fault of having strong faith but lack of wisdom, which is the attainment found by valid cognitions. So it shows how important it is to conjoin your strong faith with the ascertainment, or with the wisdom or ascertainment found by valid cognitions. So otherwise, no matter how much effort that you put in your practice, then there is a great danger that it will become fruitless. You do not achieve the result that you desire. So other than the metaphors that is mentioned here, when you see a crying face, then you burst into tears, and when you see someone is laughing, then you burst into laughter. Then the second metaphor is like a river, where he will go wherever he's led. Then it's like on the ground. Then you use your finger on the loose sand, for example, loose soil. Then there is a pool of water. Then you use your finger to draw a line on the loose sand or loose soil. Then the water will flow according to the line where you draw to, right? So it shows having strong faith, but you do not have the wisdom. Then you will be led by any person, or who you consider whatever they say is as true. So also the other example is like the cow. Then they put the ring, nose ring. I forgot the word here. So however, they put a ring here, and then they will tie a rope there, and then the person then can pull can lead the cow to wherever direction that will, right? So because of the pain, so when you put a ring there and then you put a rope, then when you pull the rope, then because of the pain, then cow will follow whatever directions that you lead it to. So it shows how important it is to conjoin faith with wisdom.
Oh, that hero love that did it. That hero love it. If I should do the show, that one hero is hero love it. That is the majority of much coverage. I should do the majority. Lavaji, the Matsavashi.
Kawala, the doing oversheet. That's all.
Doing a bush command. That the project to get the load what they did.
So when you train in wisdom, make it possess the 6 perfections, the generality of wisdom, etc. So these we'll talk about it later.
Actually, into the lawyers and the county lawyers on the road.
Yeah, most probably when I talk about the meditative stabilization, I do not explain, I'm not sure, but if not mistaken, then probably I didn't mention how to make meditative stabilization possessing the 6 perfections as well. So regarding these 2, if I have not mentioned it, then I will explain these 2 together. You mean by Lama?
Oh, can you Jimmy Bashaba? He do you Jason the Bala do in your bush in some about Congress? Rangi Jimmy Bashabala Pashi to Congress.
So then next is the 4 ways of gathering disciples. Training in the 4 ways of gathering disciples that ripen the minds of others. Then what are these 4 ways of gathering disciples? They are generosity, meaningful, pleasant speech, meaningful conduct, and act in accord with the meaning. So these are the 4 ways of gathering disciples. So in order that ripens the mind of oneself is 6 perfections, and that ripens the minds of others is 4 ways of gathering disciples. So generosity is the same as explained in the context of the perfections. So when we talk about the perfections of generosity, so it's the same as what it has explained in the context of the perfections. Then pleasant speech is to teach the perfections to disciples. So basically, it's through a skillful means, then teach or guide the disciples. So if to guide the disciples whose mind is suitable for the peaceful way, then you say a pleasant speech to those disciples in order to guide or to tame his mind. So if disciples whose mind is more difficult to be tamed, then you have to use a skillful means to tame them, like for example through a more roughful way. So pleasant speech is to teach the perfections to disciples. So the main thing to teach to disciples are perfections. Meaningful conduct is to encourage disciples to engage in the meanings they were taught to or induce them to correctly adopt them. So basically, you cause them to practice the meanings they have been taught. So it calls the disciples to practice the teachings on 6 perfections. Then as what you teach them, as the as what you have taught them regarding the six perfections, then you should act in accord with the meaning. So that means you yourself should practice the six perfections that you have taught to them as well. So is to abide in the meanings one has introduced to them and then train accordingly. So basically, you also practice the things that you have taught them. So if you do not practice accordingly as what you have taught them, then it will be difficult for you to guide the disciples. So ornament for the Mahayana Sutra says, generosity is as before, teaching it, making others adopt it, and engaging it oneself are asserted, respectively, to be pleasant, teaching it then to be pleasant, and making others meaningful conduct, and accord with the meaning. So why are the means of gathering disciples specified as four? And the answer is as follows.
Lama country in a bed. That can go so Gewalia, Jodo Jubala, they got the dish nearby somewhere, your reservoir, and the dish with the kitchen with reservoir. For Gewalia as well. That can the Dija Loma to the conduct. If you want using what to say, Gi Shawalea, Zumbalea, Joa. They like the dish with the kitchen which that how reservoir. Well, that in my Toma conduct, Toma de Cola to Diva Toma. Gabriel says, Sandivision Balas. As Sandivision Balas about the Lila Pimbata, Tangana Lavjata, Lamdeda, the Sope, Takanda Lomala Kanda, Pinjetia. What the Victory says, Toma and the Simba, Tsungu Tuyachi, Temba Tsungu Tuyachi, Temba Gawachida, Tuachi, Yuan, Indigibu Reservoir. That is all a tashi. When it does Sandivision Balas about the conditioner. Lama pay, Simba Gawa the Twitch, so here's a Dodo the day. Simba Gawa the Twitch. With Toma disover. Simba Gawa the Tua the Nevaina, that church yelling Hakaleko which our still a Garo the Nevaina.
So in order to gather a retinue for the sake of introducing them to virtue. So these four means of gathering disciples are important for causing them to practice virtue through the three doors. So it's causing their three doors to practice virtue because are important for this reason. So important for them to put effort in applying their three doors in virtue. So for this reason, therefore, these four means of gathering disciples are important. So like as it says here, in order to do so, then they first need to be joyful. For this purpose, give them gifts of material things and benefit their bodies, and etc. So in brief is through giving things to them or material things to them to benefit their bodies and also make them feel happy. So through these, then you provide other conducive conditions for their practice, for their practicing virtue, such as giving advice to them or guide them to the correct path. So all these are to make them feel joyful so that one can be easily led to the good path.
Oh, that's something simple about that. The little condition of the condition that can the Tomabe Sena Gawa, the Toachi, and this over here as well. Gawachi or Toachi. They go the Toachi or late Saigilla, then not to be chillers, but they didn't as well. It's sitting about 3 months. That Pashi to go, that Pashi to be true. That was the so that church near Bama. That's the church near Bama, the ditch is under one. Tomanga, that's something Jimbalas about the Lippe in the court of pay. You are the Tasso Lopena, Tanya was there. Tanya was there. The Stena Gawa, the Duacha, what the least over Kata, to the new watches of yes. Let the Lia Boya social be each other, you are the go at the Leo. There's also the 10 minute on the collar. That's ship. I should the ship. Yes, well, that is so much. Shoot the ship. I know. They're calling a sing a Gawada, 2 other she levels less than that. They're calling a church again. Lando we need so that top by the top of the sailor. Roa, my ship at the Shimbata. Then you only do my ship. You share the so the top parts of her sailor. That's the ship being the S.
So through these means, such as giving gifts to the retinue or disciples or to the Dharma friends, then you make them happy, so you make them joyful. So and also create a good relationship with the retinue. And then on the basis of this, then one gives Dharma teachings on 6 perfections to them through pleasant speech. Then through the pleasant speech, it eliminates the doubt regarding, for example, the objects of adoption and objects of abandonment. And then you cause them to develop understanding on things they do not understand before.
Oh, this. They're going to train your money. They're going to land those needs of fire. Shin Roa. They are wishing that Tesson to buy into the book about Tesson Sap, parts of Bassani. The land those needs you are pushing with it. They're only getting but the Jetty to Buresa, Dungy Badrua, Dungy. That Timbanashi, that's also the land those needs of Matimbanashi, the Koran, Tape, Tambo, the shit at the Pada Kawa, the door, the lesser one. The lesser Jella, they're not a Tesson to Passat, the Tesson under the language to enter by much shit. I hate our Shibat on the duel. The language Yanni Kanisha language name money by Shimbat on the duel. That Shimbat turned up on Jugurta. Give it turned up Manju by Nasta. Ali Kashi and the Lelo don't say where told you did what. Lelo on the door, Manchia the Lojo Yapu Shivichi, Jetsai Jella, a Lojo Chibi turned a pa Yanni Chudo Majibaji. A demajiba that change him you were. Don't you was did what? Don't you? What that should be done. Language needs a passion to be knowledge and but some Jamaji shield the correct knowledge and hit. China hits that hit that didn't do something but to say, do to say, Dogre, Denona, the passion to weather, Angela, bring back the Jetan, knowledge, that's how much to do with but the language. Don't you about somebody what? What did it?
So first, through giving gifts, you make them happy, or retinue or disciples happy. Then you, through pleasant speech, you make them develop understanding on the objects of adoptions and objects of abandonment and how to practice in relation to that. So they know the way to practice Dharma. So and we shouldn't just stop at the second means, and then we should further go to the third means, which is meaningful conduct, which is guiding them, cause them to practice the 6 perfections, the things that have developed understanding on or about. So the things that I've heard about 6 perfections, the object of adoption and object of abandonment in relation to 6 perfections. So they have developed this good understanding. They have developed understanding about it already. Then you should cause them to practice it, because many who do put lots of effort in listening to the Dharma or studying Dharma, but they fall under the control of laziness, of not practicing what they have heard, what they have studied. So therefore, you should cause those disciples or retinues to practice what they have heard or what they have learned.
Oh, that is a killer passion to be Yane the Pajani. That's much into the Chibala. That general Chevrolet, that's low. Low to the gigging, so gigging to the knee, Kalasa, Chibotan, that upper Chigitu Chan, John Chichaladina. They are Chana Sanjo Marechana, the Spanish Bato Mares, low in Yoris. Don't wear any shower, the choose of the Timor, Ambushina Roa, Nins Roa. Again, so John love Johnson. Nani chase so Nani Majibaina, then we need on a Dibu Marwa. He was many so the Kimbaji read out.
So after you cause others to practice practice the 6 perfections, then by saying that, oh, you should practice this and you should do this and you should abandon that. So you give instructions or guidance to the disciples, and then oneself should act accordingly. So oneself should act accordingly means that you yourself should practice the guidance or instruction that you give to others. So otherwise, if you ask others to practice, give guidance to others to practice, but you yourself, oneself is just lying there, or just enjoying yourself by feeding yourself very delicious food and etc. So it will not it will be very difficult to guide your disciples if you act in this way. So you should act according with the meaning that you taught to others. So otherwise, then there is a danger that your disciples or your retinues or your students or your may come and say to you, so I mean, you're just lying there. I mean, while asking us to do that, and you yourself just lying there, enjoying yourself. Don't you need to achieve the enlightenment yourself as well? So they might even come and say this to you. So this is very true, right? Even this is very common in our societies as well. So oneself should be the role model.
Lama la penju de chiba nashi rani pe dagaron nyane de rimban juba ina li cheba ina lama la pe so nyane chiala si tembo tangi pa tembo chagri hese ko wa da so lama ina da so ngone chebo do as gege ina do sa jangu do as da so jangu da gresans ba da de lebo se na wa wo dish.
So if oneself has this consistency of behavior, which is, in other words, is act in accordance with the meaning. So in other words, is consistency of behavior. So if oneself have this consistency of behavior, then students or disciples or retinues, then they will develop a strong determinations in themselves as well. Because I need to practice myself, because you see the teachers, they are practicing themselves. So of course, I need to practice just like them. So they will develop such determination.
So this Sanji Mabuji, Dushi, Newpole, and Juji, but that Dujape, Gewa, only a chair at the task on future, touch all the Jupiter, who's Sanji Mabuji, so years ago. Telanga, turn up village.
Since the Buddha taught that the 4 ways of gathering disciples will accomplish all the welfare of all disciples, and that they are a good method, those who gather followers should rely on them. So even many Buddhas, they thought that 4 ways of gathering disciples are the best method or the excellent method to guide the disciples to practice virtue or to connect them to virtue. So even Buddhas, they praise these 4 ways of gathering disciples as the best method.
Oh, this is what. Takanda tenda to Srejawa. That dish is what they kanda Sanziki do at Chuju do as a tender need the war as a dish with the law. Should the Sanzimiga do it, you will have kanda. Or this one's a they kanda tenda dodo the Tuja, the top of the Tanji Kupalia Chiala, the Tazambuchi, the Dominic Chowder. What did you chow? Yes, that and that dish.
So these 4 ways of gathering disciples contains the gathering the disciples through material gifts and gathering disciples through Dharma. So in order to guide them to the state of enlightenment. So 4 ways of gathering disciples contain these 2, gathering through material gifts and through Dharma, in order to guide them to the state of enlightenment.
That you will deliver. That younger the Jetujicas, that do the carrying is that the George will not be so well. Was that the Jetujicas? Then you mention it. Yes, that changes in the Jobad for the Jesse Parochi by Putin. Young Shari, Lambi Nanjuchi, Young Shari, Lambi Nanjoba, that's all on a Bandi, and that it would yes, what? So like a Jesse Tombas in the Dash, it's all yet on because that's what you know. Nanji Kamashija, Pashipul Mandawachi. 다시 두 번에 만다 대 신주라 냥자도 장기 날라 제도 장 아 간다들에 가서 간다 냥이 간 제발에 82 번에 간다 냥이 지 시도가 있다 가서 따버리 준비해야 돼 내가 노래 이제 좋아 82 번에 냥이를 만다 와지 냥바 샤비가노 도망가서 82개 냥이 지 시도가 상호지 땅바이나 도마 상로다네 기 전부 잡고 앞에 림바기도 배 82 번 에 신신가마 리장 가서 상호당도 해야 될까 가보요 토마만 냥이 지 냥샤이 가서 냥이 지 값서 에 당분이 82개 냥이 시행의 상호당에 기 전부시 다 제도지 가서 이나 다 대가랑 토마 상호도 기 전부시 하고 그래서 제도 가서 신반하게 동바이나 진바 동안 가서 제도지 샤워를 보기로 와 제도지 샤워를 진바 동안 와서 봤더니 리지 값서 배 토마 배 진바 동안 냥이데 다시 돌아마 센터바지 상황이 땅도 봐이나 어다디 이번 적 말해서 간다 다시 두기 냥이는 만다와지 와 나디 게 전부지 레세고 다 냥샤다 제도 가서 쓰고래 다 간다 가서 전주 세워다 냥샤 가서 제도 가서 정말 간다 이거 받아 주셔다 와 전주 냥이데 정말 이해하려고 좋아
The great elder Atisha taught the way to accomplish the 6 perfections during meditative voice, in other words, during meditations and during post-meditations. The Bodhisattva conduct includes the 6 perfections and so forth. The yogi arising from meditative voice steadfastly accomplishes the path of accumulation. So in this way, the Bodhisattva who abide on the path of accumulation never passes beyond the 6 perfections. So whether in meditative voice or in post-meditations. So the Bodhisattva on the path of meditation, path of accumulations, then basically they have to, when they engage in any practice, they have to engage it conjoining with the 6 perfections, to infuse with the 6 perfections. Whatever virtue they do, they infuse it with or conjoin it with 6 perfections. So at the beginning, it's very important to think in this way. Before you engage in the virtuous actions, then you think just like we how to meditate in the beginning of the class, that you conjoin the virtue of attending class with the practice of 6 perfections. So in the same way, then it's very important to think at the beginning before one engages in the virtuous practice. One thing about it, conjoin it with the practice of perfections. So otherwise, it's very difficult while engaging in the virtuous action, and then you conjoining it with the 6 perfections. While engaging in the virtuous action, then at the same time you also conjoin it with the 6 perfections. It will be difficult to do so while you are engaging in the actions. Thus, think about this. Conjoining it with the 6 perfections is very important before you engage it, or at the beginning, before you engage the actions. So similarly, even during the meditations, you should do so. Before engaging in the meditation, you conjoin it with 6 perfections. And then during post-meditations, then like for example, during post-meditations, then you practice generosity, you give things to others, you practice generosity, then you should also conjoin this generosity with the practice with 6 perfections as well. And by conjoining your generosity with 6 perfections, it makes your generosity becomes very powerful. And then perfections of joyous effort, for example, then it exists during meditations and during post-meditations.
That's one thing you know, she need 신념자도 무엇이와 아마도 배전은 가서 신이스와다 가서 덤디도 어떤 가서 또 신이라 그 시고 나 집어와 덤디도 가서 신이 좀 와라 시고라데 나 다시 좀 시고 타만 아까다 선디지 뭐 신이다 시신 좀 한도라 단가시 냠샤도 보가 요래서 단 냠샤도 가서 신이스와 소 냠샤도 보가와 남샤가서와 남샤가서 보고요와 신이스와 세세지 바지와 이노 다 신이 보면 약간서 예 다시 두개 신이데 다시 두개 냐는지 세바지 고아 열서 때 열어 자셔지 않고 뭐지 너무 신이 와
제도비가
오 신이 남자식 가서 남자식 가서 가서 다시 두개 냐는지 세바지 고아 열서 때 고아 고마 빼샤바이나 먼저 신에서 와다 세집이 띵인지 와 세집이 띵인지 어다 세집이 그 소소기 땡비 거래 돈만인지 되어래 가르라 세때네 토마테라 세때라 뭔가 지라 어떤 이들 세집이 때네 미빠 쪼야 뭐야디 세집이 체등이 뭔가 인사 빼샤바이나 딘다부지 신에 뭐야라 상무지 땅바이나 진비 파시 년에 다가로 센자로 와 어때 신이 고백 가서 가 세집바다 세집도 마야왕이 내기에서 왔다 델라페 수수 가와다 뚜와치 왔다 나도 참말려 봐이나 간다 쇠바 신이 고백 가서 때 리스나 간에 같이 좀 마이랑이 세투니 공이 선발이시 그다도 니 너지 땅바리 현도야 돼 로사로와 어때 신이 고백 가서 상무들이 땅바이나 다 간다 냐샤지 가서 같이 죽이 년에 쓰지 제도지 가서 같이 죽이 년에 쓰지 어디 리고요 어디 개천보 잡아요 당어서 까도지 마시오데 냠샤지 가서 신이다 다 한도 가서 때 냠샤지 가서 공부해서 와 신이다 가서 지다 냠샤지 가서 와 이나야 냠샤지 가서 신이구나 80도 년에 심바데 고아야서 요레스 이 요레 와 어디 하고 같이
So, and some elements of meditative civilizations and wisdom are maintained in post-meditations. So meditative civilization, something the Shinegi more something right?
something more 신에서
Something more Shinegi.
Yeah.
So, the nature of meditative civilization, which is come abiding, and the nature of a perfection of wisdom, which is a special insight. So these special insight are partially cultivated in meditative equipoise. So mainly when we talk about cultivating come abiding, mainly we cultivate it in meditative equipoise. So if someone were to ask you, could one cultivate come abiding, which is conjoined with the six perfections or not? Could it be possible to cultivate come abiding, conjoining with six perfections? And the answer is yes. So, like for example, when you cultivate come abiding, your mind single-pointedly focus on the chosen object of meditations. Then, when you think about how these meditations or these cultivations of come abiding is for the sake of sentient beings. It's for the sake of other sentient beings. I do so for the sake of other sentient beings. You already conjoin your cultivations of come abiding with the perfections of generosity. So and besides that, then you develop a delightful mind in cultivating come abiding. Then you when you cultivate come abiding, whatever physical or mental hardships occur, then you develop patience with it. Then you already conjoin your cultivations of come abiding with six perfections already. So during meditations or during the meditative equipoise, you can conjoin your meditative equipoise with six perfection. And during post meditations, so after you rise up from the meditation, so during post meditations, you can also conjoin your post meditation with six perfections as well.
사디올라 본다 파신 담보선다 담비의 शे로지 찬가기 제도의 장고이 어디 제도로 장 그래서 내가 먼저 지난 파시 신바 수치 세바세와 도로 또 제도지 시화지 차디 와
진바 수린
신바 수치 세바도 또 제도지 시화 차는 와 제도지 가서 누구야 차고요를 다 대기 가서 와서 그 상디지 냥리지 생각해서 이제 요레스 가서 무시사로 상디와 겨럽지 냥리 생각해서 요레스와 이나가서 다 스탕가서 진바자 친구 진바가서 땅 진비가서 이당가서 제도지 샤워는 차디 제도지 샤워 차디와 원양자기 샤워들 하고 말이나 다 대기 가서 와서 때 파시스 담보送的 상디의 शे로지 창가기 가서 제도의 장고세 제도의 상마의 냥에 요레스 한다 와 제도 냥에 요레스 전주시와 지나가서 넘기 니가 내고로 냥샤 냥에 제바나 전주 그거래 제도기 냥에 가리시나 전주 그거로 와 전주도 참말 찬양 받아 주려 와 다 현다 바시 두고 냥에 지다 응원도 좀 맞죠. 통마배 상대지 파신 냐네 좀 시작 적어도 신다 건가도 신도 받지. 냐네게 신도 받지 상대 파신 냐네 응원도 뭐야지. 그래서 차오로 와. 왔다 진비 파신이 되하래. 진바도 응원배 진비 파신 냐네 응원도 전에 왜 신부 파신 신다 하마가 냐네게 신도 받지. 신도 받지. 와. 뭐 되니까 제시고요.
So it says that the first three perfections are, and some elements of the meditative stabilization and wisdom are maintained in post-meditations. So this generosity, morality, and patience, so mainly they are the activities during post-meditations. So however, during post-meditations, it can be conjoined with meditative stabilization and wisdom as well. So even during post-meditation, you can conjoin your first three perfections with meditative stabilization and wisdom. So joyous effort, how it pervades, it pervades or it exists during meditations and during and in post-meditation. Because if when you want to develop calm abiding, you need joyous effort, right? Similarly, during post-meditation, when you engage in generosity, for example, then you need joyous effort is needed as well. So when one engage mainly in meditative stabilization, so you can cause others perfection. You can conjoin it with other perfections. So similarly, when you mainly engage in the activity of generosity or giving, then you conjoin it with other perfections. So other perfections also exist. In meditation, during meditation, and in post meditations as well, exist in a way that it is conjoined or infused with.
다 간다 되어로 망가서 비기 추치 최서 먹고 있으면 냥샤 가든 중에 다들 여바 집어치다 실로 말로 비슷하고 다 간다 조 첨보기 냥샤래 남비 뒤대다도 다 지미 PGSG 송도와 다 지미 PG에 대한 가서 대통 주마다 최참바 대통 주마다 뭐야 되래 달라고
대통 주마다
최탄지 대통 주마다 최단지 대동 좀 하다고서 다 간다 피 유미 페이지에서 다 페이지에 가서 제일 맞지 쉬어야 다 드리고 삼아를 와 유미 페이지에 가서 제일 단진데 제마 이거 지금 맞지 다 드리지 제바기 삼아를 유미 페이지에 와 유미 좀 하세요다 간다 단다다 최단지 대동 좀 하다고 대동 좀 하다고 또 따와 공부해야 되래 간다 와 근데 노동도
So the great elder Atisha said in his concise method for accomplishing the Mahayana path, each time you rise from meditative equipoise, cultivate a view of all phenomena as like illusions, such as the 8 similes or 8 metaphors of illusions. So, cultivate a view of all phenomena as like illusions, such as the 8 similes. In brief, what it means is cultivate a view of seeing all phenomena. 최탐지의
대동 좀 하다고
최탐지
대동 좀 하다고 대동 좀 하다고 했다와 공부 좀 해서 냥샤를 남비
최탐지의
냥샤를 남비 제도 냥샤를 남비 가서 그 최간비 집에 에서 도만의 대동 좀 하다고 니 통토야시 니 통토야 다 뭔가 동반지 되는 로장
대통사 대화대로
말말에 대동 덴바트 동
대동
대동 좀 하다고 대동 좀 하다고 대동 좀 하다고 공부 냥샤를 남비 뒤제다도 냥샤를 남비 뒤대다도 딱 최단지 간비 집에 동반의 대동 좀 하다고 통토게 따고 공부지야 아 되는지 그래서
So each time you rise from meditative equipoise, cultivate a view of all phenomena as like illusions, such as 8 similes. So what it means is see all phenomena as like, see all phenomena as empty of true existence, like illusion. So you develop such a view other when you rise from a meditative equipoise. So and regarding these 8 similes or 8 metaphors of illusions, I will explain it in coming class.
어디시? 다들 저는 가서 다 제토시 가서 가서 또 장한테 가서 데려와 타라로 비찹 서로 하면서 타 자시지 쥐어발라서 받아 짐바다 짐바다 세바 찌리라서 봐 그래서 맞아 제토지 가서 또 라서 뒤서로 와 맞아 냠샤리 가서 맞아 스토로 맞아 컴퍼니나 배 세티치비 신이 상대라서 봐 리로야 소리 뒤서로 냠샤리 가서 와 제토지 가서 왔다 타지 차라 다 장바다 민지 장주 센 뭐 this is so loyal.
So mainly during post meditations, one engaged in the method aspect, such as cultivating loving kindness, compassion, bodhicitta, or practice generosity, morality, patience. And then during meditative equipoise, then the main thing that we practice during meditative equipoise are come abiding, cultivating come abiding, and special insight.
다 간다 나도 냠샤지 대다리 나다 신이다 한도 간다 네가 신투바지와 신라기 신투바지 신라지 신투바지 간다 된다도도 신라지 신투바 신이다 한도 간다 배 네가 그냥이 야마다와 이 신투바지 있고 네가 그냥이 신투바지 대다도 공바지야 주 공바지야 그 간다 개체고 잡으리 해서 그러와 신이다 한도 네가 냠샤 차냐고 신투바지 나네 간디지 잡아이나 뭐 되는지 냠샤에 가서 나네 신이 가서 나네 잡아이나 하나 신학 신투바지 뭐 되는지 지야 돼 뒤중도 공부지야 다 개체보다 예습을 와
So at the time of meditative equipoise, balance shamatha and shamatha of come abiding and special insight, and cultivate them continuously. So when you cultivate come abiding and special insight, then you should cultivate shamatha and special insight in an equal manner, or in a way that they are indivisible. So you should conjoin shamatha and special insight.
다 딜로고다 원래 데이터에 가서 딜로고도 제범 하장배 데이터에 배당 가서 냐네 지역에 제법 신도 메드시고 작가와 하장깔이 가 로와 신도 메드시고 작가 로 맞아봐 개바다 데이터발 갈아니 섭배 다소수 냐네 피체나 하장깔이 가버려서 세마 흉버지야 로와 세근이 흉버지네 리시로와 답변이 냐네 지역에 하자 제투도 말이다 하장이 냐네 깔이 가버려서 세 흉버지야 갈아니 든디 세나 동아지와 든디 배에서 담보니 수도 peñane chemato baina 담보 수도 메랑 비치지 네 제가 마다와 냐네 치야라 란사 peñane 응어 수도 마도 바이나 데라 파 메랑 제네 데라야 메랑 제바다 세 단다 제마도네 지와 제마 냐네 주 와 지와 제마네 마 까빠 새로는 마 냐네 되다 마다와지 어디 든디 지파 아상오 타마도 다들 제 두고 문도 뉴트서 말했네 참지야요 말해서 봐 샤야요 말해서 샤스나 배도 더 살아고 어디 더 샤와라 냐는 유튜브에 냐네 주 마투바데 단다 마투바니 드리 마투바니 사니 로제마서 든디파 수수파 생각 간다 메랑 진짜는 냐네다 되다 말아와 있지 그래서 와
So at the time of meditative equipoise and balance shamatha and special insight, that means you conjoin shamatha and special insight with each other. You conjoin them or infuse each other with the other one. So for those whose minds are untrained, to hear about such wonderful but difficult conduct produces anguish. So some people, when they hear about this difficult conduct, then they feel distressed. So even though we are unable to do so or practice six perfections at the beginning, then we shouldn't just leave it think that, it's difficult to do, then we just put it aside, then full stop. Then that is not supposed to do. That is not what's supposed to do. So what we should do is, even though you are unable to do so, you should develop aspiration to practice six perfections. Even if you are unable to practice today, then you develop aspiration to practice it tomorrow. So then tomorrow, if tomorrow is not enough, then next week, for example. So you continue to develop aspiration to be able to practice the six perfection. Even if you are unable to practice it in these lives, then you should develop aspiration to think that develop aspiration thinking that may I be able to develop in future lives, and may I be not separated from these practices.
하정 배샤와이나 가도 그냥 하정의 차가와 인주가와 랑게 짐바 근내실라 말레나 랑게 라바단 케말라서 바트디 짐바 땅고 신양이 제공도스나 다트 배소수 근내실라 말레나 하정 땅 깔에 가고 슈지로와 로와 앞에 단단한 센들라 소소 짐바 땅하게 냐네 근내실레마다 니께와 차르네 몽바니 짐바 땅 투야게 배 셔마땅바 나시기 되리 냐네지 개투야 중요한 쇼사 다소소 간다 멜론다 마다와지 텐들라서 땅마 투바이 텐디지 가바이 자완이 제기 미스 배 상샤네 도와 많이 봐 소소 멜론 진지지 냐네 배바지 그걸 해서 대체바이나 또 몽바나 시스코로 때소소 응외네 저기 냐네라 배 소소 매조 매바 텔레바 냐네 지야라 세 가와도 뚜안 주바지 레그리 해서 하자배 매조 휴천부 제마가 봐 냐네 텔레배 소소 멜론다 아차다 수템보 왕기 배 세보 왕기 제마라 소소 배 아와 배 매바 배 냐네들 지야라 배 가보다 또와시 레그리 해서 뭐든지 자원이 제투 문도 자원이 지금 미스 배트코로 샤자와이나 그 몽바나 상나가 또바 가리나 바 장아리 림토고 해서 안다 냐네 가리지나 다 몽바네야 안다 가서 가서 딘지바 타마데 몽바나 문티네 단도 똥토야라 장아리 림토고 해서 어떻게 전부 공부 편바탕한테 개천부 시기 자고.
Yeah, so those difficult to practice, for example, generosity, give your hands away or give your kidneys away. So it's difficult to do so if one hasn't reached hasn't developed any realizations in the practice of generosity, or in our conventional way of saying this is when one level is not there yet, then it is difficult for one to do so. So even when one is unable to do so just yet, then one should develop aspiration, thinking that although even though I'm unable to do so now, but I should make myself be able to develop such practice or develop such ability to give away my hands and my kidneys to others, just like giving vegetables giving away vegetables. Giving away vegetables is very easy to do. However, giving away one's hand or kidneys or organs away to others is difficult, right? So when you are unable to do so, develop an aspiration. So may I be able to do so? May I be able to practice? May I be able to practice? May I be able to practice? So if we think that it's very difficult to do, then you just I'm unable to do so, then you just put stop. Then you will be getting farther and farther away from being able to do so. Because if you do not practice in this, if you are unable to practice in this life, you do not develop any aspiration, then next life definitely you will be able to getting away from being able to do so, right? So if you have this aspiration, you say this aspiration, may I be able to practice so? Then if not able to practice in these lives, may I be able to practice it in future lives? So if you have these determinations, if you have these aspirations, then once these imprints left in previous lives is activated in future lives, then then you will be able to practice in future lives. So because of this aspiration, by the power of aspiration, and then once the imprint left by this is activated, then one will be able to do so in the future effortlessly.
비전 담아봐. 냠다방 가서 하자비 안에 제가와 안에 제가와는 주파도 섭배 다 소소 상로 가다가 다 쫀된데 별로바 한지 내가서 그냥 하자기 안에서 자가와도 섭배 나라나시 배바 나시지 년에 지는 로아지마도 아무리 좀 된데들이 강에 지 먼저 봐서와니 해면도 수와 강에 먼저 봐서와니 해면도 다 쫀된데 아무데디 강에 지는 왜 냠내다 제투바나 제모도 뭐 melom 진지지 두스 년에 진도네 그 타라빈 산지 존데데 我呢就被上级就把拖通过，他说个谁穷把的嘛，谁穷把的，看他接的怕干的话，得把关拖的，有时候看他没让成绩的结果的时候，他看他人家给钱不抢过的，没到时候没让我就搞结果的，别是把拖下来呢，的他把团结就恐怕看人家讲人说嘛都，他年的给我要嘛这些，那对你呢他也得把对真的地方这些话，
Yeah. So even in the praise of infinite qualities also say the same thing. So those distressed worldly beings or those wretched beings. So when those distressed worldly beings, when they hear or the Buddha Shakyamuni or teacher himself, that when a teacher was on the path of training, then he wasn't stable. Yeah. So when the teacher was on the path of training, then he was also like me. When he was starting to practice it, he also faced difficulty. So, however, Buddha Shakyamuni didn't leave it just yet. Didn't leave it as it is. So, even though he was unable to practice it and he faced difficulties in practicing so, but the Buddha Shakyamuni, he said prayers. He said the aspiration in the path. So, and then eventually he achieved the state of enlightenment. So by thinking about this, that Buddha Shakyamuni was facing the difficulties just like me when he was on the path of training. Enlightenment. So by recalling these to eliminate the discouragement or distress in your mind. So it shows how important it is, even if you are unable to do so now, how to develop aspiration to be able to practice it in the future. So if not, if we do not even develop aspiration to be able to practice in the future, then one will be getting further and further away from the state of enlightenment. Yeah. So therefore, those who have taken bodhisattva vows must train in the conduct, but even those who have not taken up engaged bodhicitta by means of a ritual should try to develop the desire to train in it. And the vows will be very stable if you are taken after enhancing one's delight in the training. Therefore, you should put effort into this. So, so when one before one take up the engaging bodhicitta, one should first think about the benefits of keeping a bodhisattva vow. You should think about the benefits of keeping bodhisattva vows and the necessity and also the reason why you should keep bodhisattva vows. So after you give a good thought about it, and then after you examine and analyze it, and you see the necessities to do so, the reason to do so, and the benefits of keeping bodhisattva vows, then when you take bodhisattva vows, your keeping bodhisattva vows will become bodhisattva vows or engaging bodhicitta will become very stable. And you see that taking engaging bodhicitta is indispensable. So you see the reason to do so. So you see that it is indispensable. Then you take it. Then your taking engaging bodhicitta becomes very stable. Or when you take the bodhisattva vows, they become very stable. So if we do not think about the benefits, if we do not see the reason and why, the reason and the necessity to do so, then one will be like, oh, when there is a ritual of granting the vows, then either you take the vows very easily, and then you also give up very easily as well, because it's not conjoined with the examinations and analysis on the benefits, the necessities, and also reason. So even in the Bodhicitta, the first chapter, it talks about the benefits of bodhicitta. So once you develop an understanding about the benefits of bodhicitta, then when you practice it, then your delight in generating bodhicitta will become greater and greater. Yeah, so this concludes the explanations of training in aspiring bodhicitta and the stages of the path of training in the conduct of the victor's children in general within the stages of the path of persons of great capacity. Yeah, so did I mention how to conjoin meditative stabilizations with 6 perfections? So,
Yes, Geshe-la, you had done so in the last teaching.
something I love that. So
Yes.
so yeah, they so left the wisdom only, right? The perfection of wisdom.
Yes.
How to conjoin wisdom with 6 perfections, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I will explain how to conjoin wisdom with 6 perfections. Yeah, so I thought I had not talked about how to conjoin meditative stabilizations with 6 perfections.
Geshe-la has.
Yeah, So the first one is the generosity of wisdom. The generosity of wisdom is oneself abides in wisdom, and then you cause others or you establish others in wisdom. So this is generosity of wisdom. Shagi mutuncho de xiancha. Yeah. So the morality of wisdom is the mind of abandonment that abandons the class discordant with wisdom, such as those faulty wisdom. So mind abandoning the class discordant with wisdom is morality of wisdom.
Yes.
Sorry?
Example, ignorance.
Pina chashanas, shara ki mituncho. Yeah, this is the correct example.
你比较看多的，这些我就我切都有嘛呀，是吧？
Shela la jubi ka.
jubi ka jaga ta ma shela pashi jaw de da rani pe shela ka ke she wa
Shela de jubi ka su. Ni shela ni between cho de.
oh de
Yeah, so when oneself engaging in wisdom, then one abandons the discordant class of wisdom. So otherwise, then one, if not, then one will fall under the control of the discordant class of wisdom.
da shela de ti da di je shela jin ba de shela la da wa da shela je se ba wa da de ni gan so shela yulan juba la shela la jubi ka se kan da wa 예 간다데르 베 소소기다 리센라 강에 가서 여기는 대배 단돌리는 쇠도 같이 아 시로 그냥이 간디들은 주바이나로와 시로 그냥이 간디들은 주바이나 대 간다 대 리센라 강에 가서 저 단돌리는 쇠도 같이 주바이나 아 시로 지서 봤어 와
And the third one is patience of wisdom. So again, when one is engaging in wisdom, then one develop patience, embracing whatever physical or mental hardship.
다 시로 지서 좋아 당어도 시로 지 가서와 다 시로 ஞான는 주비 가서 다 대라 간다 가와다 또 지비토니 가와다 또 지비토니 대 간다 전주 좀 봐지 좀 봐이나 다 시로 지 전주와 시로 ஞான는 주비 가서 때 대라 가와다 또 지비토니 대 전주 좀 봐.
Next is joyous effort of wisdom. So again, when one is engaging in wisdom, one develops joyous effort that delightfully engaging in wisdom, that takes delight in engaging in wisdom. Yeah, one delightfully engaging in wisdom, one develops the joyous effort that delightfully engaging in wisdom itself is joyous effort of wisdom.
되는데 결국이 면에지 되는데 많이 봐. 찌찌기도 봐. 시와시와이나 예 결국이 상대에서 와. 결국이 되는데 와. 결국이 면에지 되는데라. 때마야 찌찌도 시와치.
And the meditative stabilizations of wisdom is one single point, the single pointedness. One single pointedly focus on the meaning of wisdom without being distracted. One's mind single-pointedly focus on the meaning of wisdom without being distracted is meditative stabilization of wisdom. Share give up to Jirikala. Yeah, so basically, wisdom of wisdom is when one is engaging in wisdom, one has the share of the yuyo. Yeah, so the wisdom exists in the practice. Then is wisdom of wisdom. So when one is engaging in when one is engaging in wisdom, then wisdom exists, right? And then that is wisdom of wisdom.
Oh, digital, Trinta, they shall be that to a time came with at the same law. That is a window to what that you want to in a Gematla as a Persian Taman in Mongolia Maxi. The chance to work at that time, which is raw. A bit read that the same with that since I had one much ever.
Yeah,
that Gemma was a Persian Taman in Walmart is. I think as a kitchen we travel at that time is low cheese or Persian Taman. I'm not thinking that part.
Yeah. So, next class we are going to talk about the last two perfections. So it's very they are very important. And then please read before coming to class. And next week before we talk about this, then so before we start the next class, before we start the class, then we will I will allocate time for question and answer if you have any.
Can I have one short question? Sheila? Sheila, in Pabungka Rinpoche Liberation, the part of your hand, the four means of gathering disciple. The third one, he actually used he usually said is teaching at the level of student. To me, it's very different from this Middle Lamrim and Lamrim Chemo, where we said applying the meaning. Wonder.
The third one, what did Paponga what did he say in the Paponga Rinpoche text? The
Teaching at
liberation
the
of-
level, teaching at the level of the student.
Oh, okay. So you think the word, the meaning is different from this in the Lamrim text, right?
Correct.
Yeah,其實呢啲團聚對視我啦，中巴啲團聚實啲呢Paponga Rinpoche嘅kata namdo laja namdo la di sumba di團聚即啲比較麻煩或者印記多呢團聚啲即啲maimba ini di kata Lama嘅kata Lama嘅lo di tumba chi ba去寫吧的Lama嘅lo
落的
衝吧衝吧的chi ba的
等到台湾人是不？将来就是老马将来没吃吧，那些得来就是吃吧，对吧？得来娘的结果是吃的，吃是那得
工作嘅女吧當哦啲寫當主要的。
你把它从不吃呢，就过来看，跟老马看到这里就是吃吧，台湾人是那台湾人是。
So in terms of meaning, I don't find any differences because you teach according to the mental capacity of the disciples, and then you call the disciples to practice accordingly.
那牛当这里结果是吃的，那将来这里牛当这里就不能是吃的。
Yeah. So when you teach or guide the disciples, then you should practice like this. So it implies that it has the meaning of teach according to the mental capacity of the disciples.
Sheila, we still have 4 minutes. Sheila, what's the difference between meditative equipoise and the fifth perfection, meditative stabilization?
Ini kama sihat tu sah. Ini di something tang kata something tang nyamsha gi keba kari yo.
就当我说上帝来娘下一个人，娘下了上帝给一个么了哇？说别。
Something na di nyamsha ingo lo.
就当我说上帝是话娘下给习惯了，要等到那个几百年是我说娘下是话的，这几辈给下来给些习惯了。上帝是我说上帝的心里是给些习惯了，呀上帝啦心里一个么的，我说就当bonjour是的，忙不进过的是我说bon比些了。
Something na di shine ingo re shine na.
你不要的么的。 这几多年，
shine na di something ingo re.
新年了，当地在出一个了，有的。
ini di something na di shine ingo ma.
你有个嘛的，嘛做新年嘛做上帝帮你的忙不有了吧？
Di something na nyamsha ina.
但娘下的呢，我都等到这几把了，也不等到。娘下的话呢，我是这几把了去。这几的娘把下的话，你就不会的，看到娘下把是呢，刚才了过了过了。 他们说娘家一些是呢，俺写不了把过了过了。那等你第四七把有过的是。
Oh, ini di kasa something na di nyamsha ingo ro aja.
娘家，但上帝是呢，我是这几个定的是呢，我说娘下是呢，上帝不让娘下是呢，是其他古汉人在这里的。娘下一些是话的，娘家一些是话的，娘下把是话的，这利用过的。但上帝不让是这几把的，也是个是这几个。
其他人的 keba yo mare.
你第一七把用过的，咱讲的。
keba di.
娘下这个娘下将来刚上忙不有了，是娘下把的话，东北你的这几个娘把下那个刚上忙不有了。 这几个娘把下那个刚上有的。是娘下把的话，咱讲是娘下把的，但娘下把是娘下一些是话的，娘是这几笔经验之是话的，这个第七把有过的是吧？
ini di nyamsha pa da nyamsha gi yeshi de shi yo mare. Ini di nyamsha da something na di ni ki keba kari.
娘下是话的，你也过的嘞，娘下是话的，娘下把的娘下一些是你有的是，你有娘下看你介绍的这里是娘下是吧？
yang pa da na di yeshi ni yo.
你也过了。
ini cita na di nyamsha da di ini di simte ji ba di nyama sha yo lo.
我那是这几个娘把下过的。咱讲说这几把呢，这样娘下一些一个嘛的。 是这几把的娘下一些，这七把自己有的，是这几把娘下一些也是。娘下是吧？的，俺是娘下，刚才的写把的，你那个的是娘下是。
cina ina di kasa nyamsha ba da nyamsha yeshi.
요
얘네들 sem제지바이나 디 냠샤 예시의 인고 말와.
네 제지바 냥샤 이시인 거 말이야 냥샤 이시인 게 요래 제지바 이게
인고 말와. 디케바로 아이.
제바요 당아서 제지바라 제바게 인거 말 제지바로
Something na 냠샤 있는데 sem제지바래. Yeah, so the sameness, the similarities between meditative stabilizations and meditative equipoise are single pointedness, single pointedness or single pointed mind. So, however, when we talk about meditative equipoise, then this meditative equipoise can refer to the person, the person who do meditative equipoise, and it can be referred to the wisdom of meditative equipoise. So, even though the meditative civilizations and meditative equipoise are both similar in being a single-pointed mind. However, single-pointed mind is not necessarily a wisdom of meditative equipoise. So this is the difference. So even though they are both being a single-pointed mind, but a single-pointed mind is not necessarily a wisdom of meditative equipoise.
당아도 게 저한테라 된지 받게 받은 거가 되고 의사장을 좀 추구지 겐지시 진짜 담아 사셔 가는 수용을 때 받은 거 이제 굳이 이제 내반데 쇼크는 이제 받아 산장리 유도 그라 만두다 니야라서 뭐이 반여도 도야 반여도 도야 다 진짜 칠인데 제가 책과 통해서 디바던 산지식 공간에도 받아야 되지 다 라바들 란자나 까지 라바죠 까지라면 서버는 뭐지 그 사람이 용서 돈이 그때 받은 거 이제 양시 주민 유도 피야
We conclude with dedication. We dedicate the roots of virtue accumulated, especially through this Dhamma discussion, may be a complete cause for Buddha Dhamma to flourish and for all sentient beings to experience excellent happiness. And we also dedicate this root of virtue to all upholders of Buddha's teachings, mainly His Holiness the Dalai Lama. May they live eons long, excellent health, and may their holy wishes and enlightened activities be accomplished instantaneously and spread in all directions. And we also dedicate this root of virtue for the working, and may excellent happiness prevail in the world, and may the pandemic, wars, conflict, disaster be pacified immediately. And we also dedicate this root of virtue to all sentient beings, in particular those who pass away and those who suffer. So may their sufferings, may their negativities be pacified immediately and quickly achieve the state of enlightenment. And we also, in particular, we dedicate these roots of virtue to our kind beloved teacher, Lama. May the holy wishes of Rinpoches be accomplished instantaneously, and may the unmistaken reincarnation of Rinpoche be swiftly returned and continue to turn the wheel of Dharma for the sake of sentient beings and the teaching.
Dāgē sābē kēwā tē tēndāng rōwā kūnlā kāmbē nāng kēpā jīsūn lōsāng chāpā yī tēmbē nīmbō rīndō sēshē shō chāngshū sēmchō rīmbō jē mā kēpā nā kēkyō jī kēpā nyāmbā mēmbā yāng kōndō bēwā shō chāmbē pāwē jītā kēmbā dāng kūndō sāmbō tē yāng tē shīn tē tērā kūngē chē tō tā lō tē kēwā tē tāng tē rā tō ngō kēwā rīmbō jē mā kēpā nā kēkyō jī kēpā nyāmbā mēmbā yāng kōne kōndō bēwā shō rīmī tāwā rinpoche ma ke pana ki yuji yamba me ba yang ko ne kon do be wa sho je son do ju be lang chi je de kan je de de chana be mo de de ga so la do wa de so yen de do sho chi de kan de ben de ma de ba yo e sam ba yi no ka de to me de je ga do la so wa de so be re do yo ta de ba ya se ni rang do lo kan de wa ke wa je se je Rajang Hige Gyayo Mandebe Dende Memba Dube Gele Nuden Rimbo Jese Dang Dube Duben Ziche Bewa Lang Nang Yang Bisun Soja Ka Sojen Jeje Lama Sowa De 근데 말류 중에 고제보 예외 된다 마교 좋아 예전라 지도 점바 세배 모노보 시와 시대 이래방 그냥 교종 곁도 시다 당겨세 남게 두개 라보 제루베 덴베 양도 사배 좀 계단도 제배로 뉴셰요 왜 거의 신간데 펜단데와 말류 중에는 제레도와 덴데가 소의 샤베 지제 봐도 땡요
Oh, yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Geshe-la. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Geshe-la, Ken,
Thank you,
everyone.
everyone.
Thank you, Sheila. Thank you, Ken.
Thank you, Geshe-la.
Sheila, thank you, Ken.
Have a
Sheila.
day, Keshila.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, thank you. Have a good trip, Keshila.
Yeah.
I'm going on.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ken.